Let us discuss respiration. We have seen that organisms inhale oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Now this process of inhaling oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide is called breathing. So respiration would be another process in which the oxygen which is taken by breathing is carried to the cells in our body. Inside the cell, this oxygen is transferred to the mitochondria, where the complex sugars like glucose and fructose are broken down into simpler substances to give energy. So this process in which, in the presence of oxygen, the complex sugars like glucose and fructose are broken down into simpler substances is called respiration. Respiration can be classified into aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is the respiration which happens or occurs in the presence of oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration happens in the absence of oxygen. But let us talk about aerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, the glucose is broken down into pyruvate inside the cell in the cytoplasm. This pyruvate is transferred to the mitochondria, and along with oxygen, this enters the Krebs cycle, wherein a number of intermediates are formed like citric acid, isocitric acid, oxaloacetic acid, malate, fumarate, oxalosuccinic acid. Now, when these intermediates are formed, an enormous amount of energy is released in the form of ATP. So, this entire process where glucose is broken down into simpler substances in the presence of oxygen is called glycolysis. In anaerobic respiration, in the absence of oxygen, the same glucose or fructose is broken down to form ethanol and water. So, this is the basic difference in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, and total 338 ATPs are generated, whereas in anaerobic respiration, only fewer ATPs are generated. Now, how do these gases or oxygen which is used in respiration is transferred to the organism or inside the cell? How do they flow? Now, if you observe in unicellular organisms, the oxygen is transferred into the cell by simple diffusion. So, the gaseous exchange happens in unicellular organisms by simple diffusion, wherein oxygen is taken in directly and carbon dioxide is released at the same time. In aquatic animals, let's talk about fish. How do they take this oxygen for respiration? We know that in water, the oxygen is dissolved, and this oxygen, which is in the dissolved form, is known as dissolved oxygen. While breathing in aquatic animals, you might observe that they take in a large number of water inside the mouth. Now, this water is pushed through specialized organelles called gills, which are observed in fish. While the water is gushing out through the gills absorb the dissolved oxygen, and which is transferred to the blood and flows throughout the body. At the same time, carbon dioxide is released into the water. In plants, we have seen previous videos that the gaseous exchange take place through stomata, which are specialized organelles which are located on the upper and lower epidermis of the leaf. Coming to higher organisms like animals and human beings, they have specialized structures which help in this process of breathing. These organs are known as lungs. Now, these lungs are very fine and delicate, hence they need to be protected. This protection is offered by the skeleton. That is, the diaphragm in our body encloses the lungs. You can feel the ribs on the either side of your body. This protects the lungs from external damage. Now, if you observe the lungs, inside the lungs there are minute structures which are known as, or sac-like structures which are known as alveoli. Now, alveoli are the region where the gaseous exchange takes place inside human body. Now, these alveoli further join to form bronchi, and these bronchi further join to form trachea. Now, trachea starts at your nasopharyngeal cavity wherein you inhale these gases. So, the entire system or respiratory system in animals comprises of nasopharyngeal cavity, trachea, bronchi, and further two lobes of lungs. Another type of respiration is in the lack of oxygen, that is when oxygen is not present in the right amount. This takes place in the muscle cells of our body. During this, the glucose is broken down into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. This lactic acid results in muscle cramps.